Hi, I'm Dorrance. I'm with the ASSA ABLOY door group, and I'm here today to show you how to repair a scratch on the face of a thermal fused door. Well, we're going to repair this scratch here on a thermal fused face. Of course, what makes it so easy to do is the thermal fused, the decorative surface is thermally attached to the core. So once you scrape through, as you can see in this scratch right here, we've already went down to the core. Now, one of the things about cleaning this out, of course, is to make sure that all the loose debris is gone. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this utility knife and I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to kind of clean up some of the stuff at the bottom of the scratch, because when a scratch occurs like this, some of the stuff gets pressed down into the scratch, and even though it looks intact, it's really not. Just get rid of some of that stuff here so I can see a little bit better. And come back in here and look at it one more time. I see a little bit right there. Okay. And the other thing that generally happens when you have a scratch like this is that the edges of the scratch kind of get raised a little bit by whatever the object is that's ripping through the face. So what I like to do is take a razor blade edger here, or a razor blade scraper, and just kind of go over the surface. And you can feel that. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of knocking it loose. I can feel the edges. And what I want to do is just make this whole surface flat again. What we're going to do is we're going to fill it up with a wax crayon, something you can buy locally or probably over the internet, and just going to go back and forth perpendicular to the scratch, basically. And the idea here is to fill that void, because there is, like I say, some depth to that scratch, and we want to build that up to the surface or the plane of the face of the door here. And so what I'm doing is just kind of going back and forth. Okay, I've got a lot of material down, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my artistic painter's palette knife, if you will, and I'm going to kind of work this material once again back and forth, kind of with the edge of the palette knife. And once again, an attempt to warm it up. Friction from the side of this, of course, warm it up. You can see it's probably changing colors here from a dull to a shiny, kind of shining it up, warming it up. And so the idea here is, of course, once again, working it back and forth. So all we're doing here is just filling that scratch up with a light-colored material, which is the background of this face, kind of a dark red color, mahogany. This happens to be a mahogany face that we're working with. And now I'm just going to try to scrape this excess off. I'm going to come back in and I'm going to wipe this down with this terry cloth. I'm going to wipe the edges down to remove, once again, some of that excess. Get rid of some of that shine that is representative of the wax. I think the next step we're going to do now is we're going to draw in some of these tick marks, or the graining. I've just got a black permanent marker here. Now the key with this is not just to come in and just do that. You're going to have a real ugly looking thing. The idea is to come in here and just kind of touch it and then rub it. And rub it in the direction of the grain. Okay? And in this one there's a lot of grain, so there's going to be a lot of touching and rubbing here. So that, okay. Almost to the end. Kind of work your way up this scratch. And if you've got a pen that has a little sharper point to it, would be helpful, especially in a scenario like this where you've got a lot of fine grain on the door. All right, I think that's ready to put up. Once we let this dry, I'm just going to let this set for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to go over the face of it again with a countertop cleaner here, and it's for laminates and engineered surfaces. So what that'll do will give this kind of an even shine over the surface and kind of help this to blend in with the surface of the door. Alrighty, well, it's been about a little more than 5 minutes now. I'm going to just wipe the surface here, and what that's going to do is it's going to kind of blend the whole thing together, the surface of the door, the scratch, and actually clean the door up a little bit, because working on a project like this, what happens is you get a lot of fingerprints on the door. And so what this tends to do is just kind of clean it up. Nice finished product. There, I got the surface nice and clean. I'm just going to dry it off here now. And I think that kind of just puts the highlight on your job.